Welcome back to the world today. Here in Nigeria, rescue officers say that a second blast in Kaduna State has killed at least 72 people around the crowded Kawo market today. Well, much earlier today, 2 blasts went off. This Kawo blast follows another, which was targeting a prominent Islamic cleric, Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, on Alkali Road. That blast killed 25 of his followers. Our correspondent in Kaduna State says the blast debris and dead bodies were scattered all across Alkali Road, and sources say that the explosion is believed to have targeted the convoy of the prominent Islamic cleric who was on his way to the square. The bomb, concealed in a red Volkswagen Golf car parked by the roadside, was detonated as the cleric's convoy drove past. Eyewitnesses did confirm the story also. They said the blast missed the sheikh, who was conducting Muslim prayers in Murtala Muhammad Square. Reports say that the Kaduna State Governor, Mokta Yero, has declared a 24-hour curfew in the state. In the meantime, it's been 100 days since the schoolgirls went missing in Chibok. The Bring Back Our Girls campaigns are holding a series of events across the world today to mark the 100 days since the more than 219 schoolgirls were abducted by Boko Haram. Well, the group says events are meant to heighten its demand that the federal government deploy resources to rescue the girls who had been in Boko Haram's captivity since April 14. Well, here in Lagos, our correspondent Loretta Chogo was at one of such rallies in Ikeja, as she reports.
Behind me, I'm sure you can see not too much crowd, but so much intention for the Chibok girls who were kidnapped about 100 days today to be rescued. Now, this crowd is trying to make a statement saying that the girls have been held for too long, and for them to be held for 100 days, it means that security really needs to be beefed up. They want to make a statement to show that for 100 days, if those girls are still in captivity, it means that the whole country should begin to be afraid that the security is losing ground. Now, we're also able to speak with a member of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, and she said to us that she had a one-on-one chat with one of the girls who escaped from the forest, and that the girl was able to tell them that there are routes that can lead to where the other girls are if the federal government is really ready to fight this action.
Our correspondent Loretta Chogo at one of the rallies much earlier today. Let's turn our attention now to the Ebola virus. The rate at which it's spreading is alarming, particularly in Sierra Leone, where the doctor leading the fight against the virus is now receiving treatment after being infected. Sheikh Umar Khan tested positive and has been admitted to hospital in Kalaun, the epicenter of the outbreak there. More than 630 people have died of Ebola in the 3 West African states since the outbreak began in Guinea in February. It's the world's deadliest outbreak to date, and there is still no cure for Ebola.
Médecins Sans Frontières treated more than 70 patients with symptoms resembling those of Ebola at the Kalihun Treatment Center in the east of the country. To handle the increased Sierra Leone cases, MSF is doubling the number of beds at the treatment center. Sierra Leone's Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization are also starting to reinforce teams to help trace potential victims, but suspected Ebola cases are still going unreported. Treatment centers and transit units have been set up close to affected villages where the medical teams can treat patients quickly.
In a moment, as MSF, we only have a capacity to work in the case management centers, and we don't have a capacity to go outside. The situation is quite difficult. I would say we are on the top of the iceberg in a moment because the contact tracing is not really functioning, and this is one of the major issues what we have, because to find the patient as soon as possible and to refer them to the case management center, it's the basic for an Ebola outbreak.
Governments and health agencies trying to contain the world's deadliest ever Ebola epidemic in West Africa fear the contagious virus could be worse than reported because suspicious locals are chasing away health workers and shunning treatment. From Guinea, where the 4-month outbreak claimed the first of more than 500 lives, to Sierra Leone, scores of patients are hiding away, believing hospitalization is a death sentence.
normally in Ebola, we try to be a step before the Ebola is coming to the villages, but we are completely too late. Last week, we came to a village where we had around 40 patients from one village.
Ebola causes fever, vomiting, bleeding, and diarrhea. It was first detected in then Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo, in the mid-1970s. Spread through contact with blood and body fluids of infected people or animals, it's one of the world's deadliest viruses, killing up to 90% of those infected.
To deal with this every day, to look people in the eye, you can see they are scared. To look over this fence right behind you now and look at the patients, and you know that their chances are very small. It's horrible.
But for local Kalihun resident Finda, medical treatment was available just in time. She was admitted at the center for 2 weeks along with her husband, but unfortunately, he passed away. Effective treatment needs cooperation from local communities to allow screening and contact tracing of suspected cases, and then their isolation in properly equipped treatment centers.
For those who thought rhino poaching was no big deal, the story will definitely change their minds. A South African rhino poacher has been sentenced to not 1, not 2, but 77 years in prison in one of the heaviest sentences aimed at curbing the illegal trade. Mandla Chauke was arrested in the world-famous Kruger National Park in 2011 for killing 3 rhino calves. He was also convicted for the murder of his accomplice, who was killed in a shootout with rangers. Poachers killed a record 1,004 rhinos in South Africa in 2013 amid concern that the animal could become extinct. South Africa is home to 70% of the world's rhinos, and Chauke's lengthy sentence imposed by a magistrate's court was welcomed by the country's National Park Service as a huge triumph for the rhino. Well, we come back after the break. Yes, it is no longer Prince George's birthday, but we're still celebrating here. We have more on his journey to 1-year-old when we come back.